That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
So the technique begins with music. Now, why does it begin with music? Come on, you've got to ask yourself questions. Because it gives you the timing? Yeah, it's good. What is your name? Because I'm slowly falling in love with you. Yeah, everything we do begins with music. Can anybody give me the definition of dance? Movement to music. Movement to music. Now, there are three words there. Movement to music. Which of the three is the key word? To. Because it's what we do to the music that creates the dance. Now, if I play a paso doble, you do a rumba, are you dancing to the music? No. So, how you hear the music subsequently affects how you use the music. And how you use the music is where the technique then comes from. Now, we're discussing Samba. This process applies to all the dances that you do. Now, how many beats do we have in one bar of Samba music? One measure. 2. Hands up anybody that thinks it's 4. Hands up those that think it's 8. It's funny, all of a sudden we're all Einsteins. Now, look at it later. Okay, here we go. I can find it. 2. Okay, now, the 2 beats can be broken into different amounts. The accepted amounts that we use are quarter, half, and then you can have whole and whole. All right? Now, you can then use these or call these in any fashion that then suits you. But what's important to you is what this actually means in the music. So, if we take, for example, let's take 1 beat. What can you do with a beat? For example, we talk about footwork. Footwork relates to what happens when you put the foot on the floor. Okay? Ball flat, heel flat, toe flat, whatever you want to call it. What we want to know is when you use a beat of music, how much or how little time do we have to affect footwork? If we take, let's rewind just a little bit. Can anybody give me the definition of a step? All these people have lessons with me, so that's why they know the answers. A step is when you transfer the body weight from one foot to another. Okay? Now, the direction doesn't matter. But that is a step. Now, if I do this, it's a step. If I do this, is it a step? No. Why? Because it hasn't got where it was going, if you like. So the question is, if we have 1 beat of music, physically, in time, as in watch time, is 1 beat of music long enough for you to affect a step? What do you reckon? Yes or no? Wrong answer. Your question, not an answer, should be, it depends. It depends on how long one beat actually is. So, if one beat is, for example, a minute, you've got lots of time. If it's a second, you've got less time. The question, therefore, is, how long, approximately, is one beat of music in time? Have a guess. 1 second, half a second, 2 seconds? What do you reckon? Half a second. Okie dokie. So, what we have is one beat, which is half a second. Okay? Everybody happy? So, can I transfer my body weight in half a second? I've got more body weight than you have, but even I can do it in half a second. So, the answer to the question is yes. So, if we now look at the next level, we now have half a beat. Now, if one beat of music, it lasts approximately half a second, what does half a beat of music? Who said one? So you now have a quarter of a second. Now, what do you reckon? Think we could move our body weight from one foot to another in a quarter of a second? Yeah, I think we can do that. Remember now that we're dealing with a step. A step is the transference, the total transference of body weight from one foot to another. Quarter of a second? Yes, we can do it. Let's look at the quarter beat. Now then. It is fairly accepted that an eighth of a second is physically too fast for you to transfer your body weight from one foot to another. What does that mean? It means you can't do it. So, the technique now is going to have a completely different effect when we get to this area. This is a real problem for us. What we need to understand is that when it comes to using a whole beat of music in half a second, we can do all sorts of things. We can do less, but we can still do different things when we get to the quarter. But once we get to an eighth, in musical terms and time terms, it's now basically impossible. So if we look at what we do with one beat of music, we can't do the same when it comes to the quarter beat. So if you look at things like a volta, this is my favourite step of all, because it's the one step that you're all crap at. It is pathetic. As soon as you move this foot, you're gone. This is not a volta. This is a volta. Using this foot and moving across. This is not a volta. Okay? It's really simple. That isn't a volta. Why is that not a volta? Because as soon as you take weight on that foot, it's not a volta. There is no time. It's physically impossible what you must do is really simple. You must use your standing foot. Now, it's not actually as simple as I've said, because in order for you to do this, you're going to have to have practiced using that standing foot. This is where most of the problems arise in the samba. If you all like to stand up, that would be wonderful. Give yourself just a little bit of space. All I want you to do is stand on one foot and go up and down. That's all I want you to do. Up and down on one foot. Try not to fall over. Come on, you can do that. Now, keep doing it. Go on, just while I have a little look and see how many people can do it. One foot, up and down, on. Go on, take your heel up. See, go on, there you go, girl. Look at it. Now, you're not even doing the samba and you can't do it. Now, why is this so important to you? Nearly every action that you take, whether you do samba, cha-cha, rumba, jive, any of those actions are going to require you to use that standing foot. The standing foot is going to take you wherever you want to go. The receiving foot is going to catch you. And then it's going to allow you to prepare yourself to move into the next step. Now, what we want to know is, when it comes to the technique of moving to the music, can you fulfill the necessary foot technique to progress to the next place? The next place can be forwards, backwards, sideways. What's important to you is that you can or you cannot use the foot. Now, what we want to know is, when you actually move and you dance the samba, having used the standing foot, and you move to the next position, do you arrive on a straight leg, on a bent leg, on a bending leg? Which one? Bending or bent? Bending. What is the base action in the samba? Bounce. God, that's a surprise. The thing I don't understand is that, and this is without exception, everybody I ask that question to gives me the same answer. And I fail in every competition that I watch, whether I'm doing or whether I'm watching as a spectator, to see any bounce action. Now, why do I fail to see the bounce action? Why do I fail to see the bounce action? What don't you do that you should do? Well, you don't use music properly, you don't use your feet properly, and you don't use your knees properly. So there's not much left. The point is this, is that when you take a step and you arrive having taken the standing foot and driven yourself wherever it is you want to go, do you arrive on a flat foot, a ball, or something else? Ball flat. Is that right? Ball flat. Anybody disagree with ball flat? No? Good. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Take a step forward, just into that position. Now, what I want you to do now is use the standing foot, release the heel, let the knee go, take the forward movement, and tell me what's the first part of the foot that hits the floor? No? What's the first part of the foot that hits the floor? The heel. Why? Why is it the heel that's going to be the first part of the foot that hits the floor? Because the ball is already on the floor. Unless, of course, you did this. When you get into this position and you come through and you take the next movement, are you releasing the foot or are you keeping the foot on the floor? Well, you should be keeping it on the floor. So the first part is going to be the heel. Now we can do this in rumba as well. If you stand on a straight leg, bend the knee, bring the foot through, release the standing foot. The heel is the first part of the foot that hits the floor first, because you've already got the ball in place. Now, if you do it the way you say it, then you have ball, ball, flat. And there is only one thing that has got two balls that I'm aware of, and it is not a forward movement. You have simply to think about what you're doing. And what you're doing is this. You take the step, you arrive on the toe, you've spent all your time now going down, you've run out of time because you haven't got a lot of it to start with, and so consequently you don't get time to put the heel down. You take your time lowering, it never gets where it's going, and you take the next step. So what you're doing is you're taking a step after a step without any form of foot use. You're doing toe, 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 toe. And it doesn't matter how low the heel goes. Down is down. It's a really, really simple process. All you have to do is do it properly. Put the heel down. Now, I want you to rewind to when you were a beginner. Basic samba. Okay? Now that's all we do. That's all we do. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, ba, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, ba, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Now, we have different things we can do. We don't have to wriggle our hips. We don't have to wriggle our body. All we want you to do is feel the simple action. Where is predominantly the action? Pardon? It's going to go into you, isn't it? Okay. Now, and when you want to move forward, what are you doing? Are you moving forward, or are you releasing and then moving forward? You release and move forward. And once you've done your little jinky pop there, what are you doing to go backwards? Are you going backwards, or are you releasing and going backwards? Release and go backwards. So there's a constant element here. Release the heel, put the heel down. Release the heel, put the heel down. Now, if you think about it, we release, we put the heel down. We release, we put the heel down. We release, we put the heel down. What happens if you don't put the heel down? You can't release. So if you don't put the heel down, you're in deep trouble, because you can't produce the necessary action. The heel going down is not important. It's not very important. It's absolutely vital. Okay? Vital. Do you know what vital means? Vital means if you don't do it, something terrible is going to happen to you. That's what vital means. And I'll give you one guess what the terrible thing is that's going to happen. I'm going to hit somebody. You've got to put the heel down. Now, when you come to actually thinking about this as a process, it starts with the amount of time you have to do the motion, whatever the motion is. So it starts with the sound, and it then trickles down into the movement. What you have to really grasp is that you cannot move unless you use the standing foot. And when you use the standing foot, you have got to make sure that the receiving foot receives the weight in the correct manner. Because if you change the order or change the system, the next movement is going to be affected. Now, what we need to do is figure out a system that allows you to completely understand these elements. If you can, in your mind, consider that there are different rhythms, different things, okay, that are going to... I've gone up. For example, if you're going to use an action that is quick, quick, slow. Let's take quick, quick, slow, or slow, quick, quick. Does slow, quick, quick, or quick, quick, slow have a bounce action? Pardon? No. Does quick, 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 quick have a bounce action? So, what you could do is you could create a department in your mind that whenever you use a count that has slow, quick, 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 anything that's a letter, shall we say, anything to do with letters, they are going to be smooth. Okay? Anything to do with numbers, other side, they are going to have bouncy actions. Okay? So if you do 1 and 2, 1 and 2, okay? We're going to use bouncy actions. What we need to do when we use the bouncy actions is try to understand what that count is going to then do to the physical action of the step. So, if we use 1 and 2, what does 1 and 2, so if you do your little basic again, go back to doing your little basic again, you go 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, okay. Now, if you look at what you do, you can do a little waltzy step, back, side, close, forward, side, close, back, side, close, because when we use that half count, we have time to physically take a step and transfer the weight. Okay? Now, if we use the same pattern and we're going to do ah. So now we're going to go 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now that, if you think about it, is a completely different action to the first one that we used. What's the difference between 1 and 2 and 1 at 2? You don't make a step. Think about it. Think about it. 1 and 2 and 1 at 2. What's the difference? No, that's what it is. What's the difference? What about the beat? Okay, the difference is a quarter. The difference is a quarter. 1 and, 1 and. Now, a quarter beat is ah. Say that. Ah. 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 Don't say it too often because it gives you the wrong idea. Now, what I want to do, in order to understand what ah means to you. You lot, hold up your right hand. Put your right hand up. And in the right hand, I want you to place an imaginary knife. No. Knife. If you can't imagine it, I will get one. Have you got a knife? In the right hand, we now have a knife. Stick it in your leg. Now, pull. We are now in a little trouble because we now have a large knife wound. As there is a hospital 100 metres down the road, we won't phone the ambulance. What we're going to do is we're going to walk to the hospital. Now, if you walk to the hospital the way you dance Samba, you will be dead before you get there. If you walk to the hospital the way I want you to, you're going to go, ah, 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 ah. What is not? What is not? It's not a step. Say it. Is not a step.
Is not a step.
Is not a step.
Is not a step.
It's really simple. Sammy has lost weight. See, you won't say that, will you? Okay, now, give me another step in Samba that has an A. But, glad you knew that. Botafogo. So, Botafogo, one step. Not a step. Wrong. Bye-bye. Really simple. Wrong. Got the idea? Try it. Step across. Stick the leg out. Tap it. Step across. Stick the leg out. Tap it. That is the Botafogo. Okay? When you dance in a competition, you are speaking to me. You're saying, I am stupid. I am stupid. I don't want to go back to the final. You're speaking to me. You're telling me, I understand, I don't understand. It's really, really simple. Ask yourself a question. In England, we have a medal system. Bronze, silver, gold, gold bar 1, gold bar 2, da-da-da-da. When you do your bronze, silver, gold medal, usually 8, 9, 10, 11 years of age. They do vaulters, they do botafogos, they do spot vaulters, they do samba walks. If they don't do them correct, they don't pass the exam. Okay? 10 years of age, does the vaulter wrong, goodbye. You go to Blackpool, International, UK, you dance in the competition, you do it wrong, why am I going to put you in the final? I wouldn't put an 8, 10-year-old through the bronze medal. Why am I going to put you in a semi-final? You do it wrong, you are going home. It's so simple. All you have to do is learn the simple basic techniques that relate to the steps, that relate to the footwork, that relate to the music, and then use them. None of the stuff that we do is difficult. It's designed especially for you. It's simple. You just have to do it. If you ignore it, you will not be successful. How many people here do 10 dance? Right, 10 dance. Question for you. If you do a waltz, flat, 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 will you get a recall? Only if Len's judging. If you do the wrong footwork, will you get through? No. Why should you get through in Latin? Is the footwork not as important? Is the music not as important? Is the understanding of the technique not as important? I think that you have to rewind just a little bit. And you have to spend a little bit of time thinking about the simple things that you do. The things that you actually don't think are that important. What I see when I watch dancing is a lot of people running around the floor on their toes with no action, under the banner of this is a samba. This is not a samba. A samba has a technique. It has a basic action. You don't have to bounce all through the program. You can mix the rhythms. You can use flat action, you can use bounce action, you can use severe bounce action, you can do all sorts of things, but it contains some form of action. What it must not do is completely ignore the way the footwork relates to the music. All we want you to do is recognize the core element of the dance. Please try not to get too affected by the choreography. Okay? Quit thinking about how clever and fast and slick it should be, and start thinking about how the core element of the dance should be. This is a really, really important thing for you. If there are 20 couples on the floor, 19 of which are running around the floor flat, and one of which has got that beautiful bouncing action and pulsing with the music, which of those couples stands out clearly? It's so simple. And when you do a competition, the object for you is to be seen. If you are like 19 other couples, you dress the same, you do the same choreography, you have the same wrong footwork, you use the same wrong rhythms, nobody is going to recognize you because you are the same. If you want to be special, if you want to stand out, if you want to be the person that people go, whoa, what's that? Use your brain. There are two types of performers. There are sheep and there are shepherds. Do you know what sheep are? Bah, bah. Do you know what shepherds are? Shepherds are the man that leads, and all the sheep follow. Do you want to be a sheep or do you want to be a shepherd? Who said sheep? Nothing, absolutely nothing can be gained by mediocrity. Mediocrity is nothing. Mediocrity. Nothing. Okay. Which one feels the best? The quick change or the slow change? Who said slow? Stupid boy. The quick one. Why is the quick one better? Because it reflects the energy in the music. How you count that music is going to decide how you move to that music. If you count badly, you will perform badly. Just because everybody else does it badly doesn't mean you have to do it badly. Think. Look for ways of improving how you perform. Never mind what they do. Think about yourself. What we do in competition dancing is totally selfish. I have no interest in anything that they do, because what I do is better. Think about it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
That old man